AITA. Am I the a-hole for stalking my boyfriend before we got together? I don't think it's really stalking, or I wouldn't post here, but yeah. He came and spoke to me at a party with some others, probably because I was standing alone, and we talked for a bit and then he just left. His friends stayed but he went. He said he would be right back, but he didn't come back. We didn't speak for long, but I felt a connection to him. We had a lot in common, and I wanted to speak to him more. So, I searched up one of the friends' names on Facebook, it had been said earlier, went through it, and found him in their friends list. His account was semi-public, so you could see some photos and old posts, but not all for some reason. I scrolled for a bit, and I learned some things about him without even meaning to. Then, I requested some people on the previous friends list, and hoped they'd be friends with him too, and eventually a few accepted. I will admit I did join some Facebook groups, and talk to them in there so they would accept, and then we eventually had mutual friends. So then after a week of this, I requested him. He accepted it. I messaged him asking if he was the guy at the party, and said how much of a coincidence it is we already had mutual friends, and he showed up as a suggestion for me to add. Maybe this lie wasn't very good, no. He said yes and we started talking. I watched his favorite shows, and listened to his music so we'd have something in common too. I did legitimately enjoy them, I didn't lie. We then just started talking, he asked me on a date, and now we've been in a great relationship for 8 months. I love him a lot. I told a friend this story in passing, and she said it was kinda strange, and said I shouldn't have done it. Was it? I didn't hurt anyone. I think it's romantic. Creepy, creepy, creepy. You basically started a relationship with him based on a lie. You had mutual friends, you didn't, and you liked the same things. You found what he liked and then liked them yourself. You manipulated him into a relationship with you. You won't know if you actually would have hit it off otherwise. I would bring this up to him immediately. You don't want this weighing on you and for him to find out somehow down the road. It's not romantic, it's really creepy. Maybe looking him up and finding some info about him is okay. But, adding friends to make it look like you have mutual friends, then pretending to like the same music/movies, that takes it a step further. I didn't hurt anyone. I think it's romantic. Just because someone doesn't get hurt, doesn't mean it isn't stalking. This is kinda creepy. I would be a little weirded out by it myself. It is also very manipulative. You manipulated his friends so that you could learn more about him, then manipulated the mutual friends so you could get closer to him. This is very stalkerish. Kind of feels sociopathic, but I'm not qualified to make that diagnosis. YTA. You're the a-hole. This is really weird. You used his friends in order to get to him and you lied to him as well. I don't understand why you didn't just add him on Facebook after the party. It would show him you were interested enough to look him up, but it wouldn't be nearly this creepy. This scheme you had was unnecessary and I would not be happy if I found out someone did this to me. YTA. This is less a-hole and a little more, whoa there. At first I was thinking, nah, I mean, most of us have probably looked up our significant other on Facebook when we were just talking to them. I know I looked my boyfriend up when we became friends and started talking, and I friend requested him because we did legitimately have mutual friends before we hooked up. But, I didn't snoop through all of his shoot, and then decide to pretend that I liked the same things. You took this into way left field land, when you decided to intentionally get close his friends to make them yours, just so you could get close to him. To start snooping his interests, not out of genuine curiosity for him and what he was into, but just so you could claim to have things in common that you know for a fact you didn't. It would be entirely different had you two been chatting, and he sent you that stuff and you checked it out to see if it was something you liked, and you legitimately did. But you basically peeping Tom D him from a distance, spied on his interests, spied on his friends, and all just so you could hook him. That is the definition of stalkerish. Yikes. AITA. Am I the a-hole for cutting off a friend for knowingly dating my stalker? So in 10th grade, this guy from my school, we'll call him R, found me from Tumblr and started following me around school. It was kinda creepy, but I didn't think much of it. But one day, R comes to school, guitar in one hand and a bouquet full of flowers in the other, surrounded by all his friends. They push me to the center of the quad area at school, in front of everyone, and R starts performing a song he had written to ask me out on a date. I'm mortified. He, all his friends who helped orchestrate this, everyone, is just staring at me. Keep in mind, I hardly even knew who this guy was. He literally just found me online and started stalking me. I finally managed to say R. Can we talk privately? I pull him aside and say that while I appreciate the song, I would rather just be friends. R got pissed. He starts guilt-tripping me saying stuff like, I set aside everything to do this for you, as if I ever showed any romantic interest, and as if I ever even asked him to do any of that. But, R still accepts to just being my friend. Except he didn't treat me like his friend. From then on, R tried controlling every aspect of my life as if we were dating. He would get angry at me for hanging out with my friends and not him. He wanted me texting him at all times during the day, and wouldn't let me sleep just so I had more time to talk to him. If I fell asleep I would wake up to tons of angry messages asking where I was, calling me horrible names. He would stalk all of my social media, so he could see if I was online, and scream at me if I was and just not responding to him. I lost so much weight because of how stressed I was. I must have lost 5 days of sleep to avoid RS awful, abusive messages. I had to start changing my route to my classes at school because if R ran into me, he would start berating at me right then and there, in front of everyone. Finally, summer comes and I'm able to avoid R. I fled all my social media, remade, and blocked him on everything. The next school year comes, and I become really good friends with this girl we'll call S. We ended up becoming best friends, and we vented to each other often. Of course, R came up while we were talking and I told her everything, and she was horrified that I had to go through something like that. Until a couple months later, S and R start dating. I was floored. I kept telling S I'm glad you're happy, but I don't really feel comfortable hanging out with you because of what R did. S says, what did R even do to you? I tried again and again to remind her what R did, and that she was welcome to date him, but I wasn't sure if I could remain friends with her because of how much I feared for my own safety, but then after a couple weeks she would immediately forget what R had put me through. S and I started growing distant because of this, until finally, for my own mental health and well-being, I stopped talking to her. TL.DR. AITA. Am I the a-hole for cutting off a friend because she knowingly dated my stalker? NTA. Not the a-hole. Stalkers have been known to try and infiltrate their target's circle of friends, in hopes of being close to their target again. Good move by cutting her off, especially when this is a widely known issue that X is your stalker. Absolutely NTA. The guy stalked you and emotionally abused and manipulated you, it's fair that you're uncomfortable around him. I will say that he may be telling her that you're lying if she has confronted him, and that's why she forgets after a while. Don't feel bad for cutting someone off, who would have put you back into a harmful situation, for your mental health. NAH. No a-holes here. It just seems like she decided to choose R over you. Sure, it sucks and I would question her logic behind this, but it is not like she is doing anything malicious to you. Quick edit. Some girls absolutely love the kind of grand gesture and attention R has given you. I wouldn't be shocked if the reason why she dated R was because of the stories you've told her.